Welcome, everyone, to this deep dive into body composition. We're really excited to be looking at this topic today.
And we're using material from a university course by Professor Michael Ormsbee.
A leading expert in the field,
Yep.
who I think a lot of our listeners will be familiar with.
Many people confuse body weight with body composition, but they are quite different.
Distinct concepts.
Absolutely. So today we're going to learn what actually matters for your fitness and well-being.
And that's body composition, not just what the scale says.
Right.
So let's unpack that. What is body composition exactly?
Well, it's the ratio of fat mass to lean body mass.
Okay,
And lean body mass includes muscle bone and organs.
got it.
Now imagine two people both weighing 150 pounds.
Okay.
If one of them has a lot more muscle than the other, well, their appearance is going to be completely different.
Of course, and they'll feel different too.
Absolutely. And they'll experience differences in strength, energy, even how their clothes fit.
This makes so much sense. So understanding your body composition gives you a much better picture of your health than just looking at your weight.
Exactly. And Professor Ormsbee highlighted a really interesting point. Muscle is denser than fat.
Dense. Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure. So picture this. 5 pounds of muscle takes up a lot less space than 5 pounds of fat.
Hmm.
So they weigh the same, but the volume is totally different.
Okay.
And this explains why someone can change their shape without their weight changing.
Right. They could be losing fat and gaining muscle at the same time.
Exactly, leading to a steady weight.
That's amazing. Someone could be getting leaner and more toned and not even realize it if they're just fixated on the number on the scale.
Precisely.
Focusing on body composition is key then.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just how you look. You've probably heard of BMI, body mass index.
Sure. It's used as a measure of health all the time,
Right. But BMI can be misleading.
especially for people who are carrying more muscle mass.
Exactly, because it doesn't distinguish between fat and muscle.
So a muscular athlete could be classified as overweight based just on their BMI.
Right.
Not very accurate.
Not at all. There's a better measurement for people who are carrying extra weight and muscle.
Which is?
The fat-free mass index, or FFMI.
FFMI. Okay.
This index looks at lean body mass, so it gives you a clearer picture.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see how this deep dive into body composition goes beyond aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
It's about understanding what's going on inside our bodies and how that affects our health.
Exactly.
It's about what our bodies are made of, not just how much they weigh.
Precisely. Now let's move on to how food influences body composition.
Because that's a huge part of the picture.
Right, absolutely. So let's think about what happens when you eat.
Okay.
Your body starts breaking down the food into usable fuel.
That's our digestive system doing its thing.
Exactly. And we get 3 main components from our food: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. These are called macronutrients.
The building blocks of every diet.
Exactly. And here's where it gets interesting.
Oh.
Each macronutrient is absorbed in a different way.
Really?
Carbohydrates and proteins break down quickly and enter the bloodstream very fast.
But fats don't.
Fats take a different route. They're absorbed through the lymphatic system.
The lymphatics, and it's a whole separate network in the body.
It is. It's like a separate highway for transporting nutrients, specifically fats.
Interesting. So our bodies handle these different substances in very distinct ways.
Very distinct. We're really zooming in here, aren't we? Seeing these processes happening at a microscopic level.
Amazing. And this deep dive is all about understanding how those processes affect our body composition.
Right. And to understand that, we need to understand how our cells use those nutrients.
So we're going cellular.
Imagine this. Each cell in your body is like a tiny little city.
Okay.
It has a wall around it, the
Yeah.
cell membrane, and that wall is made mostly of fat and protein.
So what we eat is literally building our cell.
Exactly.
The quality of the fats and protein we consume affects the very structure and function of our cells.
Absolutely. It affects how strong and resilient the cell walls are, how well they communicate with each other, how efficiently they transport nutrients and eliminate waste.
It's all connected.
Everything is.
That's incredible. The
Yeah.
phrase, "you are what you eat," really is true right down to the cellular level.
It really is. And it highlights just how important our dietary choices are. They affect everything from how much energy we have to how susceptible we are to disease.
Wow. That's quite an eye-opener. I'm already rethinking my snack choices.
I'm glad to hear it. Now let's address a common fear when it comes to body composition carbohydrates.
A lot of people are afraid of carbs, especially if they're trying to lean out.
They are, but it's not that simple. Not all carbs are created equal.
Okay.
We have to look at the glycemic index or GI of different foods.
I've heard of that. It's about how fast a food raises your blood sugar, really.
Exactly. High GI foods, things like processed snacks and sugary drinks, cause your blood sugar to spike really quickly.
And what goes up must come down.
Exactly. You get energy crashes and potentially fat storage.
So we want to choose lower GI carbs that provide sustained energy and keep our blood sugar stable.
Exactly. Things like vegetables, whole grains, legumes. These are your friends when it comes to healthy body composition.
They give you the fiber and nutrients you need, and they release energy slowly without those dramatic ups and downs.
Exactly.
It's not about fearing carbs, it's about choosing the right carbs for your body and your goals.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to another often demonized nutrient, fat.
Fat's been the bad guy for years.
It has, but here's the truth. Not all fat is bad. In fact, some fats are essential for optimal health.
So tell me about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the fat world.
Let's start with the good omega-3 fatty acids.
Okay.
You find these in fatty fish like salmon and tuna, flax seeds, walnuts.
I'm listening.
They have powerful anti-inflammatory properties.
Anti-inflammatory.
They reduce your risk of heart disease, enhance brain function, even improve your skin.
I'm sold. Omega-3s are going on my shopping list. What about the not-so-good fats?
Saturated and trans fats. These are the ones to be careful with. Saturated fats are found in things like fatty meats and full-fat dairy.
Okay.
They're not inherently bad, but too much of them can increase your cholesterol levels and your risk of heart problems.
So moderation is key.
Exactly. Now, trans fats, these are the real villains.
Oh.
They're artificially created through a process called hydrogenation, which turns liquid oils into solid fats.
Like margarine.
Exactly. And trans fats raise your bad cholesterol and lower your good cholesterol.
They're not doing us any favors.
Not at all. They're linked to a whole host of health problems.
Trans fats are definitely off the menu.
Good. And here's a bonus tip. Choosing the right fats can actually help you manage your calorie intake.
How so?
Healthy fats, like the ones you find in avocados and nuts, are very satiating.
Satiating meaning they fill you up.
Exactly. They help you feel fuller for longer, so you're less likely to overeat.
So I can eat fat and feel full and potentially reduce my overall calorie consumption.
Precisely. It's all about making informed choices and understanding how different nutrients affect your body.
This is so interesting. I feel like we're really starting to get a grasp on this whole body composition thing.
We are, and we're just getting started. There's so much more to explore.
I can't wait. Let's dive in.
Let's do it. That's right.
Huh.
It's about understanding how different nutrients impact your body. And speaking of building blocks, let's talk about protein, the main component of our muscles.
This is the stuff that builds and repairs our muscles.
Precisely. Protein is crucial for muscle growth and repair, particularly if you're active. And here's a myth we can bust. Lifting weights won't automatically make you bulky, but it will help maintain muscle mass and boost your metabolism.
So weightlifting is beneficial for everyone, no matter their body composition goals.
It is. And with protein, quality matters as much as quantity.
So we want to choose complete proteins, the ones that contain all the essential amino acids our bodies can't produce on their own.
Exactly. Like lean meats, poultry, fish, eggs, dairy products. Those are your go-to sources for high-quality protein.
Now that we've covered carbs, fats, and protein and how they affect our cells, let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture. The energy equation. I'm guessing this is where calories come in.
It is. It's all about energy balance. The calories you consume versus the calories you expend. You've probably heard of the 500-calorie rule for weight loss.
Sure, but it's not that straightforward, is it?
Not really. It's an oversimplification. Our bodies are complex systems. They adapt to changes in calorie intake.
So it's not as simple as eating less and moving more.
No. Drastically cutting calories can backfire, actually. It can slow down your metabolism and make it harder to lose weight in the long run.
So what's the key to sustainable weight management and a healthy body composition?
It's about making gradual, sustainable changes to both your diet and your activity levels.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Exactly. And we can't forget about hormones. These powerful chemicals play a huge role in regulating our body composition.
Hormones, like insulin and cortisol, I know they can affect our weight,
Yeah.
but how do they fit into this whole body composition picture?
Well, let's start with insulin. It's often called the storage hormone because it helps move glucose from our blood into our cells for energy or to be stored as glycogen.
Okay.
But when insulin levels are constantly high, maybe because of a diet high in processed foods and sugary drinks, it can lead to fat storage, especially around the belly.
So keeping those insulin levels balanced is important.
Very important. Now let's look at cortisol. often called the stress hormone because it's released when we're under stress.
Right. Both physical and emotional stress.
Exactly. Now, cortisol is essential for helping us deal with challenging situations. But when it's constantly elevated because of chronic stress, it can increase visceral fat, the kind that surrounds our organs and is linked to all sorts of health issues.
So managing stress is essential for maintaining a healthy body composition and overall well-being.
Absolutely. To wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a question to ponder. If you could reset your body's set point for a healthier body composition, what one change would you make starting today?
That's a great question. It makes you think about what one small sustainable change you can make that will have a big impact over time.
Exactly. And remember, knowledge is power. The more we understand about our bodies and how they respond to diet and exercise, the better equipped we are to make healthy choices.
Wow. It's been an incredible journey exploring the intricacies of body composition.
It has, and we've covered so much ground.
We have. But before we wrap up, I want to talk about the practical side of things. Like,
Mhm.
how do we actually make informed choices about what we eat? Those food labels can be so confusing.
They can be, but they're packed with information that can help us make healthier choices.
So let's break it down. What are the key things we should be looking for on a food label?
Well, first things first, pay attention to the serving size.
Okay.
This tells you how much of the food the nutritional information is based on. So if you eat more or less than that, you'll need to adjust the numbers.
Right. It's not just about looking at the calories or fat grams, but understanding the context.
Exactly. Next, look at the calories per serving. This gives you an idea of how much energy the food provides.
Calories are units of energy. And while they're not the be-all and end-all, they do play a role in weight management.
They do. After that, check out the macronutrient breakdown.
Meaning,
Look at the grams of carbohydrates, fats, and protein per serving. This helps you balance your macronutrient intake according to your individual needs and goals.
so for example, if I'm trying to eat more protein, I'd look for foods with a higher protein to carbohydrate ratio.
Exactly. And don't forget about fiber.
Oh yeah, fiber's important.
Uh,
Where do we find that on the label?
it's listed under carbohydrates. Fiber is great for digestive health and helps you feel full and satisfied.
So we want foods with more fiber. Got it. What about sugar?
Sugar is also listed under carbohydrates. Look specifically for the amount of added sugars.
The sugars that are added during processing.
Right. Try to limit those as much as possible because they can contribute to weight gain and other health issues.
Added sugars can be sneaky. What about fat? How do we know what kind of fat we're getting?
The label will usually tell you the grams of total fat, saturated fat, and trans fat per serving.
Okay.
And as we discussed earlier, we want to minimize our intake of saturated and trans fats and focus on the healthy, unsaturated fat.
So it's not just about the total fat content, but the types of fat. Makes
Yeah.
sense. And what about those other nutrients like vitamins and minerals?
Those are usually listed as percentages. Look for foods that are a good source of essential nutrients like vitamin D, calcium, iron.
Got it. So we're aiming for nutrient-rich foods that offer a wide range of vitamins and minerals.
Exactly.
No.
Now let's talk about nutrient timing.
Nutrient timing.
It's the idea of strategically planning when we consume certain nutrients to optimize our body composition and performance.
I've heard athletes talk about this, but how does it apply to the average person?
Nutrient timing can benefit anyone. It's about understanding how our bodies respond to nutrients at different times of the day.
Interesting. So give me an example.
Well, for example, having protein shortly after a workout can help with muscle recovery and growth.
It's like giving your muscles the building blocks they need to repair and rebuild.
Exactly. And having carbohydrates before a workout can provide your muscles with the energy they need to perform their best.
So it's all about fueling your body strategically for what it's about to do.
Precisely. And let's clear up a common misconception about eating at night.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
We've all heard that eating late at night is bad for you and will make you gain weight.
But it's not that simple.
So I can have a bedtime snack without sabotaging my progress.
It really depends on what you choose to eat.
Right.
Like with any meal or snack, the key is to choose nutrient-rich options that support your body composition goals.
Makes sense. So a small protein-rich snack before bed could actually be a good thing.
It could. It might help you feel fuller and support muscle recovery while you sleep.
Wow, this is amazing. I love learning about how our bodies work and respond to food.
It is fascinating. And there's always more to discover.
Speaking of discoveries, let's talk about dietary supplements.
Ah, yes, the world of supplements. It can be a bit of a minefield out there.
Definitely. Lots of hype and misinformation. So let's separate fact from fiction.
Dietary supplements can be helpful for addressing nutrient deficiencies or for supporting specific health and performance goals.
Okay.
But you have to be careful. Not all supplements are created equal, and some can interact with medications or have unintended side effects.
So it's important to do your research and talk to your doctor before taking anything?
Absolutely. Let's look at some popular supplements and see what the science says.
Okay.
One that's gotten a lot of attention for boosting athletic performance is creatine.
I've heard of creatine, but I'm not really sure what it does.
Creatine is a naturally occurring compound that helps your muscles produce energy during high-intensity exercise. Taking creatine supplements can increase your creatine phosphate stores, which can lead to improvements in strength power and muscle mass.
So it's like giving your muscles an extra edge.
Exactly. And the research suggests that creatine is safe and effective for most people.
Yeah.
But it's important to start with a loading phase and then go to a maintenance dose to get the most benefit.
Good to know. What about supplements for fat loss? Are there any that actually work?
The fat loss supplement market is flooded with products that make big promises, but most of them don't have any scientific evidence to back them up.
So buyer beware.
Absolutely. One supplement that has shown some promise for fat loss is caffeine.
The same caffeine that's in my coffee.
The very same caffeine. Caffeine can stimulate your metabolism and increase your calorie expenditure.
Interesting.
It can also enhance athletic performance, but you have to be careful with caffeine. Too much can cause anxiety, sleep problems, and other negative effects.
Or everything in moderation.
Exactly. Now let's talk about protein supplements.
Okay, these are popular with people who are looking to increase their protein intake.
They are. And there are different types of protein supplements out there, like whey protein, casein protein, and soy protein.
What's the difference?
Whey protein is a fast-digesting protein that's absorbed quickly, making it ideal for post-workout recovery.
Like a quick hit of protein for your muscles.
Exactly. Casein protein, on the other hand, is digested slowly. It provides a sustained release of amino acids, making it good for before bed.
So it's like a slow drip of protein throughout the night.
Exactly. And then there's soy protein, which is a plant-based protein, good for people who are vegetarian or vegan.
So there's a protein supplement for everyone.
There is. It's about finding the one that fits your dietary needs and preferences. Now let's talk about how to stay motivated to make these changes.
That's the hardest part for me. Knowing what to do is one thing, but actually doing it consistently is a whole other challenge.
I understand motivation can be tough, but there are things you can do to make it easier.
Like what?
Setting realistic goals is key.
Goals that are actually achievable.
Exactly. Start small and gradually build from there. It's also important to find activities you genuinely enjoy.
Make exercise fun.
Precisely. If you hate running, don't force yourself to run. Find something you love, whether it's dancing, hiking, swimming, whatever makes you happy.
Exercise shouldn't feel like a chore.
Absolutely. And don't underestimate the power of social support.
Surrounding yourself with people who are on the same journey.
Exactly. Having people to encourage you and hold you accountable can make a big difference. And finally, be kind to yourself.
Self-compassion.
Exactly. We all slip up sometimes. It's not about being perfect. It's about progress.
And learning from our mistakes.
Exactly. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, let's revisit that thought-provoking question from before.
Okay.
If you could reset your body's set point for a healthier body composition, what one change would you make starting today?
That's a powerful question. It
Yeah.
really makes you think about what one small, sustainable change you can commit to for the long haul.
It does. Whether it's adding more whole foods to your diet, prioritizing sleep, finding an activity you love, every step towards a healthier lifestyle is a step in the right direction.
Well said. And before we go, can you give us a quick recap of the key takeaways from our discussion?
Absolutely. So here are 10 things to remember about body composition. Number 1, body composition is more important than weight. Number 2, muscle is denser than fat.
Got it.
Number 3, BMI can be misleading, especially for people with more muscle mass.
Okay.
Number 4, not all carbs are created equal. Choose lower GI options.
Okay.
Number 5, healthy fats like omega-3s are good for you.
Check.
Number 6, protein is essential for muscle growth repair and a healthy metabolism.
Got it.
Number 7, energy balance is key to weight management, but don't drastically cut calories.
Makes sense.
Number 8, hormones play a huge role in regulating body composition.
Okay.
Number 9, intermittent fasting and cold thermogenesis are interesting approaches, but more research is needed.
Noted.
And number 10, motivation, social support, and self-compassion are crucial for making lasting changes.
It's been an amazing journey exploring the world of body composition with you.
The pleasure has been all mine.
Now, let's all go out there and create healthier, happier versions of ourselves.
To a healthier and happier us.